and some guy did final adjustment at the dealership. The battleship plate patch, I'm not sure what was going on there. Ow, that got my hand. That got my hand. That didn't feel good. Hello everyone, welcome back to Maverick Mods. Working on the 1971 Firebird here behind me, in the kind of the final stages of the mock-up process and doing body panel alignment. Some of the metal work, not necessarily the body work, but the metal work required on both new panels and existing panels that came with the car. Last episode, I worked on the deck lid and the rear spoilers and got everything lined up. This week, I intended originally to work on the doors and the fenders. Well, didn't quite get all of that done. Still working on the fenders, both there and there. But I did get the doors done, and so that's what we're going to focus on this week. So, grab your popcorn, let's get started.
Hands on, man.
Okay, I got it. Alright, so the plan is to just latch it because the latch is pretty darn close. Alright, so those are in. Slide forward.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
There.
Right there.
How do they do that in the factory? The thing just comes over, they go like this. Boom, boom.
Yep, I know. Well, nowadays, it's freaking good manufacturing tolerances. Back in the day, they probably had a freaking jig that just held the door exactly in place. They zipped the bolts in, and some guy did final adjustment at the dealership. As you saw, getting a door aligned really involves two guys standing around scratching their heads saying, why is this so hard? Well, it's not that easy, but got it done. I'm going to work on my gaps here. I'm going to have to pull this top portion of the door out just a little bit. Fits pretty good here. Maybe massage this a little bit. Good down here. I've got good gaps along the bottom. And I won't be able to see just how well it lines up here. I may have to push this in just a little bit, but the rest of it looks pretty good. Next up, let's work on the fender. That's sitting over here, and this one is the problem child. Let's take a look. So we've got the Swiss cheese up here, which to this day baffles me because, you know, you don't need to do, I know this is old school, but you don't need to do the drill pull if you can reach the backside with a dolly. So I'm going to go and fill all these holes and then get to the backside with a dolly and just straighten all of this out. I'll work on that. I need to work on my mounting tabs down here. These are just a little bit rust out. I'll just patch these. I've got, somebody tried using them. I'm not sure what they tried to use here, but I'll straighten that out. I've got complete access to the backside there. And down here is, well, this is just ugly. There's no putting lipstick on this pig. I've got a patch panel, which interestingly enough, this isn't a great patch panel. It mostly fits, but it doesn't fit very well. And interestingly enough, This thing is either out of production or out of stock everywhere where I looked. This came with the car. It's not the best, but at least I've got something to work with. But I'm going to wind up cutting I'm going to wind up cutting at least up to here. I'd like to go all the way and just patch this as well, but the panel doesn't go up that high. So I'll go up as high as I can. I might actually patch this first and then cut a little bit lower, but I got to get rid of this, and I need to do a little bit of work on the support brace on the bottom as well. So once I really started looking at the fenders, it's not that the amount of work is excessive. It was just excessive for the time frame that I needed to actually get this video out. So decided to put the fenders off and let's go work on the passenger door. The driver's door, it's in good shape. So wasn't really too much work required for that. I did have to do a little bit of rust repair, but not too bad. Passenger door, little different story. So let's dive into that. This door needs some repair first. It's got a couple of creases in here. The drill pull holes. I've got to fill those. I think there's one there too. It's got some parking lot rash along here. I'm gonna see if I can get a body spoon behind there, pull some of that out. But the biggie is right down here. This was just a battleship plate patch. I'm not sure what was going on there, but I've got to fix all of that before I can get serious about lining this door. So I've got to get the door off. Let's get it off and on the stand. With the door on the stand here, we can take a little bit closer look at what I need to do to work on this thing. There's a crease here. Like I said, I'm gonna have to fill these holes, get back behind here, take that crease out as best I can. This was just filled with Bondo before, so I just don't like that. I want it to be as good as possible before I go in and do the finish on it. Like I said, there's some door dings here. Those are no big deal. The big elephant in the room is this patch or repair. I'm going to cut this out and just replace all of that. No idea what I'm going to be dealing with down here. I mean, it's hard to tell. So we'll just see what happens when I get into this. I do have a little bit of rust. I'm going to patch this area right here. The rest of the door, looks like I've got a little bit of possibly a rust hole right here. I have to investigate that. As far as the exterior goes, the only other thing that's weird is there's an indentation where the mirror mounted right there. I have to get back behind there. Let's flip this over, look at the bottom side. Inside the door, well, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look terrible for a 50-year-old car, I guess. Like I said, gonna have to do a little patching here in the process of fixing this corner. I'll just bend up some replacement metal for that and kind of section this in. Got a little bit, I might just go ahead and replace this corner. Looks like there's a little bit of rot right in there. And the rest of the bottoms of the doors don't feel and look too terribly bad. Not too terribly bad until we get to this. I don't know what happened here, but I'm gonna fix this. I'll pop this back out. And oh, the other thing, I'm gonna have to do something to these hinges. As you can see, that's loose. And this one. The amount of work to get the passenger door kind of back into good condition was kind of mounting. Still not insurmountable, but a few things in there that really kind of, I started scratching my head going, is this a really good idea? And one of the problems I ran across was a lot of the repairs to the outer panel or the skin, you know, you have what I like to call one-dimensional and two-dimensional bodywork. Two-dimensional bodywork is where you can get to both sides of the panel. You can get to the back side, you can get to the front side, so you can actually get a hammer and dolly and you can move the metal back close to or where it needs to be. One-dimensional bodywork is where you don't have access to both sides and you only have one side to work with. Kind of complicates matters, and that's what was getting me on the passenger door. So let's take a look at how the repairs are going. in the pile. At this point, this is kind of where things on the passenger door repair sort of started sliding downhill. Everything I seemed to do to try and work on an area of the door skin itself was fighting me. And it almost acted like there was a stress in the skin that I couldn't find. And so every time I worked on one area, it would affect something halfway across the door. And it was like rippling through the door. It was really, really weird. And so I persevered, figured, okay, I'm going to give this the old college try. And things progressed from there. I got the crease in the door out only by using the stud gun. And that's when really things really, again, it went from downhill to even farther downhill. Sorry about the Alvin and the Chipmunks impersonation there. What I was trying to point out was that the door had both low spots, but now when we started pulling things out, had some high spots in it as well that, you know, with a really large flat panel like that, are really difficult to work and difficult to control. So I'm still giving it the old college try. I wasn't ready to give up yet until next part of the door that I'm working on here is, and the more I look at it, what in the heck were they thinking? I'm sorry, but what the heck were they thinking? This whole area, I'm scratching my head wondering how this could have gotten damaged. This is supposed to be basically flat along here. This is not supposed to be pounded in this way. This is supposed to just come out here to this edge right there. What was going on here, I haven't got the faintest idea. I'm going to try and fix this. This is pretty heavy duty steel at this point. This may be kind of interesting trying to fix this. I think it's moving a little bit. That got my hand. That got my hand. That didn't feel good. Ouch. Ouch. I've had it. Absolutely, completely, positively had it. I'm sick and tired of this door skin. And I don't even want to look at it anymore. So Mike, he's taking care of it for me. And we're going to go in destructo mode and just put a skin on the thing. It's just, there's something going on with this door and I cannot figure out what it is. So, you know what? A skin is easier than my aggravation and the time and effort to this point. So, go for it. Originally, I had no intention of showing the door skin removal replacement. I just kind of put the door up, recompleted as just a completed artifact, because there's tons of videos out there about how to replace a door skin. And you know, there's the right way, the wrong way, my way, and everybody else's way. And you know, there's different opinions and differing opinions on how to do it. Finally, I decided, what the heck, this is part of the journey of this car. So basically, I kind of missed out on filming cutting the old skin off, but there's not really much to it. If you take a look at, this is the replacement skin. For all intents and purposes, it comes with a lip that you're supposed to fold over onto the existing door structure, which is right here. So all you're doing when you cut the old one off is you grind through the very edge to the point where it separates this part of the flange with this part of the skin. It's really not a whole lot to it. It's just some grinding. So in the interim, once I got that off, there is still a little bit of cleanup that needs to be done. And I started off by removing what's left of the flange on the inner part of the door shell, but also cleaning up all the rust and everything associated with that. So we're back in the sandblast tent. I've got it back up now. And I've just cleaned off a few areas, you know, even on the door bar here, the crash bar, that had a little bit of rust, but mainly just cleaning up the edge so that you get rid of the rust on the edge, if there is any. There wasn't in most areas. A little bit down in this corner and a little bit down that and on the back edge. On the skin itself, all I can say about this is replacement skin. I forget who I got it from. I think it's OER. But as you guys, I think, remember from previous episodes, I'm not a big fan of the black EDC coating as a base for my paint. So while I was in the sandblast tent, I went and sandblasted the EDC coating off. This will get a coat of epoxy primer, as well as the portions that I hit on the door, so the edges, this bare metal portion of the door bar, all of that will get epoxy primer. Then we'll put the skin on. Conventional wisdom says once you sandblast a panel, blow it off with air, it's ready for primer. And that's true. I like to go one step farther than that, and the reason I do is because it's really difficult after it's sandblasted to make sure that all of the sand and dust and everything is out of there, and you don't want that contaminant in there. So I just take a Scotch-Brite pad. Don't have to do it heavy, but just run it along the edge. Not the edge, just run it along the panel. If there is any little dust or something that's kind of trapped in the pores or in the grain, it'll knock that loose. Be sure and wear gloves, because you don't want bare hands and the oils on your skin touching the bare metal, because that just adds a contaminant or introduces a contaminant into your soon-to-be fresh paint. Now I can blow this off and it's ready for paint. Since I've decided on this skin replacement, I'm not going to do panel bond for the join to the door shell. I'm going to do plug welds instead. I need to just mark every couple of inches, like 2, maybe 3 inches apart all around the perimeter, so I can drill holes prior to putting the skin on. So I just need to mark my spots. Now this little guy, of course, not everybody's going to have the need to have one of these in their toolbox, but man, if you do, this is really handy. Basically, it just punches holes on this side, makes a nice little, I think it's a 3/16 hole. On the other side, it's a flanging tool, air powered, works great. So I'll go where my marks are. Alright, so I've got all my holes for my plug welds done, and it's so much nicer and so much cleaner than drilling everything out. I've got one more thing I want to do before permanently mounting the door skin here. I did notice when I did a test fit, man, this thing has a lot. It can move around on that shell like you wouldn't believe. So I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to put the shell and mount it on the car, then mount the door skin up, move it, get the shell mounted where I need it to be, as close as I can, move the skin around, mark the proper location. That way when I come back on the bench, I can get the skin as close as possible without necessarily causing an issue down the road where I didn't get the skin on exactly right and I can't adjust it out. So let's do that. Since I got the door shell realigned, I've now put the skin on loosely. I did have to crimp the bottom edge just to get it to hang there. Other than that, the reason I'm doing this is I'm looking for gross errors. There's enough room that door skin can shift around on the shell that getting it kind of misplaced and cockeyed one way or another is possible. So what I'm looking for here, I've got it set. I'm looking for not the exact gap, but I'm looking for consistency along the bottom edge. Again, I'm looking for consistency along the back edge. And even though I haven't aligned the fender yet, up here I'm just kind of looking for gross errors. You know, I mean, this is going to pull in a little bit, and of course I'm going to pull in quite a bit up here. So basically I think I'm in pretty good shape. Again, the reason why I didn't just measure the old skin was I didn't have a whole lot of faith in it to begin with. So I'd rather just start fresh, knowing that the door shell is aligned, align the skin with the shell. Now I'm going to make a whole bunch of marks to make sure that the skin, when I pull everything back apart, that I can reposition the skin exactly where it needs to go on the shell. I've got everything set. I'm just about to put the shell back on the door skin. Last thing I need to do, the original skin had some globs of something along this portion of the shell, of the frame, and on the back edge here. So I'm just going to recreate that. Got some seam sealer here. I think that ought to work pretty well. And I can probably go just about where the old blobs were. Again, I'm assuming this is just kind of, once it cures, it's hopefully is a little bit rubbery like the original stuff was. I'm assuming it's there to help prevent the door from rattling. Maybe. All right, let's give that a try. Next, I'm going to put the shell on the skin. Here we go. This ought to be fun. Let's see if I can do this without getting all covered in goo. Okay. Well, that seemed to work. I mean, the goo's kind of squished in there. All right. Okay. Stranger things have happened. As it pulls up in here, it'll do better too. All right. Now I'm gonna line everything up like I had it before with all my marks. Get some clamps on it. Okay, just about exactly where I need to be there. This whole thing needs to go this way. Quite a bit. Much better. That's where it needs to be. I'll clamp this up and start folding the edges over. I've already got the back edge started rolling over. Let's, excuse me, the bottom edge. Let's work on the back edge a little bit. I'll have to remove clamps as I get to it. Might have to cut a little slit once in a while along kind of the body line here. We'll see, but a lot of guys, now I don't have it's a door skin body hammer. I don't have one. I don't do door skins that much. And a lot of guys will use a rubber dolly underneath to keep the edge in good shape. Don't have one of those either. I've got the next best thing. I'm going to use my deck lid adjusting tool as a dolly. Just kind of sit it here and just kind of work my way down. we're folding this edge a little bit at a time. I got to move the clamp. And we're just going to work this edge a little bit at a time and fold it over to where it's flat. Right along the corner here, as the metal folds over, it's kind of overlapping here. I need to make a little bit of a relief cut here, just so that everything can fold flat. Okay, let's start with that, see how that looks. I think that'll work. It's a little sharp. Let's see if we can fix that. Better. All right. That's workable. At this point, I'm just going to go up and I'm going to work my edge and flatten it out. Kind of all the way up, work on the corners, work on the edges, and basically work your way around on the flange. All right, last piece of the puzzle. Got to weld up the upper door edges and then hit the holes that I punched in the door skin for plug welds, or rosette welds. Got to hit all of those. There you have it, guys. Last thing to do. Grind down the welds. Most of them don't need it. A few of them do. The rosette welds are pretty close to a factory spot weld if you do them right. I don't always do them right. The passenger side door with the new skin is on and adjusted to about 98%. Well, call it 95%. Maybe 94%. On the back of the door here, this is why you do doors first, because everything hinges off the door and the quarter. And just so everybody knows, I went ahead and put the door gasket in. Just so I've got it, everything as close as I can. Obviously, I don't have the window or all the hardware in yet. That may change things a little bit. That's hard to say. But let's using my gap tool. So I'm just a smidge tight, but I'm almost right there. I can massage that with a body hammer. I'm good. I got a little tight spot here. Again, body hammer will take care of that. I'm good. Again, just a smidge of a tight spot. Not enough to actually adjust the door with. Again, this is the replacement skin, so it might be a little wavy right here. In fact, I can see that right there. It's a little bit of a hot spot there. That was a weld. So again, little adjustment, little hammer will take care of that. I'm good up to here, and then it widens out. It widens out up to here, and then it gets tight back up here. So I can use my welding rod technique just for this one little edge right here. Fix that. I need to work on this little corner right here only because it doesn't quite match the body line there, but I can work on that. Just for argument's sake, let's look at the other side. Okay, we're on the driver's side. Again, we've got the door adjusted. Again, looking for consistency along the rocker panel. Now this right here is a replacement quarter, but it's the factory door. Let's see how well we did. So I'm just a smidge wide along here. Goes back to good. It's a little tight. No, actually it's not. It's perfect right up in there. It's perfect up in here. Maybe it is a hair wide right there. Perfect. And then it tightens up here to right there. Loosens up. Then it tightens up here as well. So the question is what to do. A couple of different options on this, but there's not really anything I can do yet. And the reason is because even though you do the doors first, the doors and the fenders all kind of tie in together. So I'm going to leave the doors right where they're at. Next up, we're going to mount some fenders and get some fenders adjusted and do the metal work on the fenders. That's going to do it for this week, guys. Got the doors on, got them aligned. Mostly, I still need to do a final alignment once the fenders are on and the fenders are aligned, because like I said, they kind of have to work together at this point. Next up, going to work on finishing up the, which one is this? This is the passenger side fender, and finish up patching the driver's side fender, get the rest of the metal work done. I'll get them on, get them aligned, and then we can move forward from there. So once the fenders are on, then I can work on hood, I can work on the front bumper, lower valence. I've also got a full set of, well, I guess they're kind of called spoilers. I've got a front spoiler and side skirts in front of the wheels. I've got to get those mounted and get those aligned and looking good. Still a lot of work left to do on the car, but we're getting there. Certainly appreciate everybody watching. Thanks to all you guys for following along as I bring this Firebird back to life. If you like this video, consider subscribing. If you're not, maybe give me a thumbs up. Certainly would appreciate it. Everybody, see you next week. Have a great day.